my hometown is Vincennes, Indiana. Back home again, to the beautiful banks of the Wabash, to the heart of the old Northwest Territory and Indiana's first city. Back to my hometown, Vincennes, Indiana. It's been a long time, but it's good to be back. Yes, sir, this is homecoming. Homecoming Day, as much a part of the autumn scene in America as falling leaves, Halloween, or Thanksgiving. The whole town turns out. It's a great, big, festive day and truly an American holiday, with a big parade not of threatening cannon and armed men, but a celebration honoring sportsmanship and the physical prowess of young athletes. We're proud of our football team, and it doesn't matter if they're good or bad, because Homecoming Day is a celebration based not on victory, but on love and pride. And that's what I feel when I come home. Love for my town and pride in its accomplishments. These young football heroes should remember that just as their very name honors Alice of Old Vincennes, so are they honored to carry with them the name of one of America's great cities, whose history is almost synonymous with a mighty chapter in the American conquest of the West, and whose very growth is a tribute to the American ideal. This is my hometown, Vincennes, Indiana, where the very air breathes forth the greatness of the men and women who built here the first great outpost of the American march from sea to sea. This beautiful Doric temple honors the memory of George Rogers Clark and his intrepid band of patriots who in 1779 marched through the cold and wet of an Indiana winter to capture from the British this outpost in the great Northwest. Upon this very site stood Fort Sackville, housing a garrison of English troops. The capture of this fort meant that at the close of the Revolution, the British would turn over to the new United States of America territory embracing the present states of Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and part of Minnesota. So that it was here at Vincennes that a great part of the early history of our nation was shaped. Our town is filled with rich memories of this history, which is at one and the same time the heritage of all America as well as the glory of Vincennes. This is Father Pierre Gibault, priest who persuaded the French population of Vincennes to join their lives and futures with that of the new nation. This beautiful statue stands in front of the old cathedral which was built on the site of the original log church of St. Francis Xavier that was erected about the time Vincennes was founded. From its earliest beginnings, God and his ministers have found devout, loyal, and pious worshipers in Vincennes, and the churches of Vincennes to this day are an integral part of our individual and communal lives. Next to the church is the Cathedral Library, housing the oldest library collection in Indiana, containing rare manuscripts and other information so valuable that copies have been placed in the Library of Congress. Here is kept the oath of allegiance administered to the citizens of Vincennes by Father Gibault, and here is also kept the historic bylaws and minutes of the old parish. And this Bible was held by Mother Seton, foundress of the Sisters of Charity, the time of her death in 1821. At the west base of the Clark Memorial stands a statue of Colonel Francis Vigo, an Italian fur trader who fled from Vincennes in a canoe to tell Clark that the time was right for him to strike at Vincennes, and who also provided much of the money that supplied Clark with his needs for the campaign. And here is the supposed site of the home of Alice of Old Vincennes, to whom Clark gave the great honor of raising the American flag over our town, emblematic of American supremacy in the Northwest. In 1800, Congress created the Indiana Territory, and Vincennes became its first capital. From this building was governed all of the Indiana Territory and part of the Louisiana Purchase. and here lived William Henry Harrison, first governor of the Indiana Territory and later the 9th President of the United States. Forming an integral part of the 18-acre Clark Memorial Plaza is the Lincoln Memorial Bridge. Here Lincoln and his family crossed the river in 1830 on their way to Illinois. And so the plaza is a memorial not only to our civic legacy, but to the entire American heritage. A French city into an American city, led by a French man of God, a Virginia patriot, and an Italian merchant. And this combination of the secular and the religious, and of men of goodwill from nations all over the world, has welded together and built a great nation and a great city. Today, born of this heritage is modern, progressive Vincennes. Industry, commerce, and merchandising, in forms and shapes that our forefathers would little recognize, but would greatly admire. Strategic for mass production and national distribution, and accessible to 100 principal markets, with overnight delivery by truck, for example, reaching 20 million people. This is the Vincennes we have built, from the start given by Vigo, Clark, and the pioneers. Steel, the backbone of industry and the very core of American production, leaves here stamped with the name of Vincennes. The Vincennes Steel Corporation sends its product to all 48 states, and it exports them to foreign nations all over the earth, a key part of the local scene since 1899. Here, the most modern machinery and equipment available fabricates structural steel for buildings, bridges, coal preparation plants, boats, barges, and produces reinforcing steel for all purposes. Vincennes Steel, winner of the Army and Navy E Award for Excellence in 3 consecutive years while producing steel sections for LSTs during the Second World War. Excellent machinery, sound management, and skilled men tell the story of progress. The men, all proud of their craft, and members of Shopman's local union number 585 of the American Federation of Labor. Here at Vincennes Steel, in the true American spirit of discussion and understanding, exist harmonious relations between labor and management. Management encourages and favors the organization of their employees, and wouldn't go back to the open shop even if the opportunity should present itself. Alert management is personified by Hugh Stevens, President and General Manager of Vincennes Steel, who goes over plans with Frank Sargent and Bill Steele. Typical of Vincennes is this modern industry, unheard of and probably undreamed of in the days when Clark's brave men left footprints of blood on the snow to win a rich new province for a new nation. And here is the oldest home in Vincennes, that of Adam Gimbel, who founded his great merchandising career here in Vincennes 111 years ago. On the very same corner that the 5-story Gimbel Bond building now occupies at 2nd and Main, Adam Gimbel set up shop in a little log and clapboard building. And from this humble beginning grew a city within a city, numbered within the top 20 firms in the United States with a continuous business life of over 100 years. Gimbel Bond has seen the economic life and way of living change, but has kept pace with the demands of the public. At its opening in 1842, Adam Gimbel announced an innovation in storekeeping. Gimbel's would not do business for barter, and would conduct its business on a one-price policy with fairness and equality to all patrons, whether they be residents of the city, plainsmen, traders, or Indians. And this policy of decent and honest merchandising has borne fruit through all the years since its proclamation. Now, in one building and under one efficient management, is all that is needed in retail merchandising for the entire family and indeed for an entire city. The idea of shopping centers is not a new one, although much heralded these days, Adam Gimbel had the idea and put it into execution over a century ago. But behind all of the selling and the merchandising are the employees. And Gimbel Bond is typical of management in Vincennes in that it realizes and appreciates the importance of its employees. This year's 111th anniversary sales celebration was dedicated to the personnel as a sign of gratitude for their loyalty and dependability. As General Manager William B. Jones said, "Many of our personnel have been employees of Gimbel Bond for more than a quarter of a century, and there are several instances of trusted employees who have been members of the staff for more than 40 years. I have never met a more loyal, conscientious, and enthusiastic group of people." So speaks management about labor in Vincennes, Indiana, where friendly people live in an atmosphere of friendship. Here at a typical Gimbel style show, a long way from the calico and homespun of the pioneers, are the very latest in women's clothes, up to date, and the result of modern production geared for modern merchandising and modern selling methods. And also modern are these cans. Cans are a comparatively new thing in food packaging. Napoleon once offered a king's ransom to the man who could discover a way to preserve food for his armies. And we take cans for granted now. But then again, it's a long way from the old grocery Cracker Barrel to the modern gleaming food store. Beerhouse & Sons is a Vincennes firm that has seen and been a part of the great changes in packaging for the past 75 years. It is a firm that has grown with Vincennes and has catered to the needs of the Indiana housewife through all of the changes in style, fashion, and the merchandising of wholesale groceries. Look at these packages. No longer merely containers, but salesmen, carrying messages of quality, of prizes, of any number of inducements designed to attract the housewife and her family. Beerhouse remembers selling sorghum and candy in barrels, and products like lamp wicks and coal oil. Today, many of these products have become outmoded, and others find themselves in new, fancy dress. Lantern shades, for example, once bought in carloads, are now nothing but a memory, having been replaced by the electric bulb. And the bulb, in turn, is slowly giving way to the fluorescent tube. This is progress. Yes, there's history here. Just by studying the changes in merchandising, one sees a picture of the changing home life of America. A firm like Beerhouse distributes hundreds of brand name items, but they're most proud that their own brand name of canned foods, a brand called Scout Cabin, is the very first choice of housewives in their distribution area. They feel that this offers the best proof that they have stayed abreast of the times in merchandising and in quality. In their offices, Beerhouse keeps track of thousands of items with well-trained workers and the latest in office machinery. It is one of the few wholesale grocery firms in the state that has IBM machines to do the billing and handle the perpetual inventory. Packages and packaging, a skill, a science, and an industry that is new to the world, but already a big part of the Vincennes industrial scene. Package design, a 20th century skill that has made a place in Vincennes. Packages, designed to look good, to carry messages, to protect their contents, and often to serve as an auxiliary showcase for products ranging from foods to television sets. In Vincennes, the Pomeroy Manufacturing Company since 1922 has been synonymous with boxes, and now looks forward to the future with its design and execution of packagings for television sets. Mainly manufacturers of corrugated paperboard shipping containers for an almost endless list of products, Pomeroy also produces paper specialties like sound deadeners for steel kitchen cabinets, filters for air conditioning units, insulation for dry ice boxes, and so on. Pomeroy has grown rapidly, but is built upon a solid economic foundation. That its product is excellent is illustrated by its sales growth. Sales have grown yearly from $35,000 to $4 million, and the firm's capital has jumped from $4,000 to to 1.25 million. This is solid industrial growth in a comparatively new industry. The uses of paper are only beginning to be explored, and as the market grows, so will Pomeroy, and with it, Vincennes. For Pomeroy ships its products all over the United States with the convenience of a good and varied transportation center at its very doorstep. For all industry, Vincennes offers not only a nearby market and a central location, but for those who must send their products further afield, Vincennes is at the junction of 4 railroad lines running north, south, east, and west, 14 truck lines, air delivery, 3 U.S. highways, and 2 state highways, all combining to make Vincennes easily accessible to all points. Pomeroy has built well in Vincennes and is happy here, as are all of Vincennes' commercial and industrial plants. Management and labor are a contented and cooperating team in my town, and labor management strife is virtually non-existent. We know how to live together in my hometown, and we practice the golden rule. Vincennes, Indiana, home of the first newspaper in Indiana, the first courthouse, the first post office, even the first business, was also the site of the first bank in Indiana. The American National Bank, though not the first in chronological order, is today the most modern advanced bank in Vincennes. Since 1888, it has built continuously and successfully upon its one-word credo, service. This town of mine is so wrapped up in history, and its businesses so stable and long-lasting, that no matter where one turns, the past is certain to make itself known. The first president of the bank was a Gimbel, and 20 of the individuals and firms who were depositors in 1888 are still doing business with the bank, among them E. Beerhouse and Sons. Truly, the Vincennes heritage is a constant and powerful thing that can only evoke pride in the men and women who have built so well and so long in our town. Like other Vincennes institutions, the American National Bank is loyal to the past but alert to the future. The interior of the bank is newly designed in the latest manner, and for the automobile age, the bank has built the first sidewalk depository in the state, where you can bank night or day without leaving your car or sacrificing security. Any wonder that I'm proud of my town? A town where youth can grow surrounded by living examples of the greatness and daring that founded our nation, and the business sense and responsibility that made her great. The era of initiative in business is not past, and luckily so, because the death of this initiative would mean the death of much of the greatness of our nation. This heavy earth-moving equipment is the property of the Green Construction Company, a comparatively new firm that has grown with a basic knowledge and skill in the very latest technological methods. This is Robert Green speaking with his pilot. Robert Green, who since 1939 has worked successfully to build himself a going business. In that year, he bought a used earth mover and set up shop. His first job, which paid $100, was to dam a farm pond with 250 cubic yards of earth. In 1952, the company was paid $4.5 million to move 30 million cubic yards of dirt, most of it at the Savannah River hydrogen plant of the Atomic Energy Commission. If you can't visualize 30 million cubic feet of soil, then think of its equivalent, a ditch 10 feet deep, 10 feet wide, and 1,500 miles long. Right now, they're working on 7 jobs of grading and excavating in 4 different states. And in a short 13 years, Bob Green has built one of the largest concerns of its kind in America. And there are people who say there isn't any more room at the top for independent businessmen. Ask Bob Green. He found new worlds waiting to be conquered because he was alert to the promise and potentialities of science and his native land. One of Bob Green's current jobs is a civic improvement project on the Wabash River right here in Vincennes. Working with the Corps of Engineers of the United States Army, he is helping them build a wall that will aid in the future control of this waterway. The job involves 80,000 cubic yards of levee embankment, and the wall itself will be 14 feet above the ground and will sit on pilings that project 18 feet below the Earth's surface. This solid concrete wall will have sluice gates 6 feet in diameter. This is a mighty task, for it amounts to reshaping the very work of Mother Nature herself. But with the aid of Bob Green, his men, his equipment, and his know-how, the job will be done. The cost of this staggering project will be between $3 and $4 million. But ex-school teacher Bob Green will make this a civic project all the way as far as he's concerned. He's donating all of his profits from this job to the new Vincennes University Building Fund. Here are the first of many new buildings which herald the opening of a rich new era in the progress of this, the oldest institution of higher learning in Indiana, which was founded by William Henry Harrison in 1801. Here is another example of the Vincennes spirit, proud of the past and building for the future. October 12th, 1953 was M-Day, and moving day it really was. Everyone pitched in, faculty, students, and even that weak little co-ed who usually can't even carry her books. The professional movers took care of the big items, but the amateurs cleaned everything else out of the old buildings and had set up the new halls of ivy in double quick time. President Isaac Beckus was on hand to direct and help the happy project. This was a proud day for him, completion of the first step in his continuing campaign for a bigger and better school. And this fellow's happy too. He just moved 4 chairs, 6 cabinets, 34 typewriters, and the guy who fell asleep last week in the French class. What energy. Education from kindergarten to college is excellent in Vincennes, and we'll keep it that way. What's more important than our kids? If we glory in our past, then we have to educate our children well, for they are the future. The cornerstone and mainspring of all fine educational systems are the teachers. Their work in shaping our youth is all important and all pervasive. Here at Lincoln High School, a group of teachers meet with Principal Roy Snyder to discuss mutual problems and to plan activities and procedures that will benefit from their combined experience. Our community's debt to its educators cannot be overstated. For as much as we love our children, that much must we thank them. In classrooms like that of Howard Burnett, our children learn not only the 3 R's and the wisdom of knowledge, but learn also to respect and appreciate and know the very heritage that I've said so much about. Mr. Burnett points out on maps of Vincennes certain salient facts about our community that these high school students will carry with them in their future days as active participants in our communal life. But learning isn't limited to the classroom by any means. It is also passed down from generation to generation within the family circle. That was Royal Nugent telling his 2 grandchildren, Bruce and Stevie Nugent, all about cattle, and these 2 future dairymen are soaking up knowledge that would take them years to accumulate by themselves. This is training, informal, easygoing, and yet extremely valuable. For Royal Nugent hopes that one day these 2 boys will take over his dairy and continue the family line in the business he established and built. Even now, while he is casually training his successors, his dairy plant is undergoing its 2nd large-scale expansion in the past 7 years. Nugent Farms dates from 1921, and it looks like this will be still another Vincennes business to be added to the list of old-timers that grow and prosper in our town. In many respects, the Nugents are a living illustration of the sense of continuity which pervades Vincennes, from father to son to grandchildren, and so on down the line through the years. Perhaps the motto of our city should be stability. Jim Turner loads a complete line of Nugent dairy products on his truck, dairy products that come direct from the farm to you, with an extra bonus of wig-wag blessings from Pam Ledley, another of Royal Nugent's grandchildren. Jim delivers his load of milk to Good Samaritan Hospital, a modern, up-to-date institution that serves the community as the healer of all of our physical ills. These are some of the homes of the people of Vincennes. With the coming of modern machinery, modern factories, and the shorter work-day, the recreational activities of our town have steadily increased as the working man found more and more time at his disposal. His home is his castle, but when he sallies forth, there is plenty to do. For the kids, there are the playgrounds at Gregg Park. For Dad, there's horseshoe pitching. And for the entire family, concerts at the bandshell or swimming and sunning at Rainbow Beach. And by the way, for visitors, Vincennes has excellent and friendly hotels, like the Covered Wagon, which offers the flavor of the past with the luxuries of the present. This, then, is Vincennes, an American city of free people, Americans, people of all races and stocks, who have merged their skills and abilities to create for themselves the highest living standard in the world. The American worker without peer anywhere, a true leader in the community. And the Chamber of Commerce, made up of businessmen seeking to build a greater Vincennes, is working now to promote increased industry and commerce in our town. It has purchased valuable industrial land which it makes available to interested industries. Already, the Fulton Glass Company has taken advantage of the opportunity to expand its facilities. In Vincennes, business and labor march side by side, carving out a happy future for themselves and their families. So strike up that band. Homecoming celebrates a lot more than merely a game. It is our cheer for the future, our faith in tomorrow. These youngsters represent the Vincennes and the America yet to come. And that's why we salute our youth. Why, when we crown a queen of homecoming, we are crowning more than just this one girl, but all of our youth. Our nation and our town has come a long way since the exploits of George Rogers Clark, but we shall advance steadily into the glory of an even greater tomorrow, based on the belief of human dignity and the American ideal of mankind's inalienable liberties.